the early hours of September 10, 2017, a hotel employee at the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare made a discovery that would shock the nation. While conducting a routine check of the kitchen area, they opened the door to an unused walk-in freezer. There, curled in a corner, lay the body of 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins. Her skin was cold to the touch, her vibrant life extinguished in the most unexpected of places. The temperature inside had plummeted to well below freezing. For nearly 24 hours, as her frantic mother searched the hotel and pleaded for help, Kenneka had been there all along, trapped in a steel chamber that became her tomb. The moment marked the devastating end to what had begun as a typical Friday night out with friends, and the beginning of a case that would raise disturbing questions about hotel safety, police procedures, and the vulnerability of young people in seemingly secure environments. The death of Kenneka Jenkins reverberated far beyond Chicago's West Side. Within hours of the discovery, surveillance footage showing her final moments, stumbling alone through the hotel corridors, went viral. Social media erupted with theories and demands for justice. How could a young woman at a party with friends end up dead in a freezer? The case exposed troubling gaps in hotel security, raised questions about police response to missing persons reports, and highlighted the dangers that can lurk in everyday spaces. For weeks, protesters gathered outside the hotel, while millions followed online, demanding answers that seemed frustratingly out of reach. The circumstances surrounding Kenneka's death left investigators and the public grappling with disturbing questions. Why was an unused freezer operational and accessible to hotel guests? How did a visibly intoxicated teenager navigate through restricted areas without intervention? Where were her friends during the critical moments of her disappearance? The timeline revealed a troubling gap. Friends called Kenneka's mother at 4 a.m., saying they couldn't find her, yet hotel staff didn't locate her body until nearly 20 hours later. The autopsy revealed alcohol and an unexpected medication in her system, but did that fully explain her disorientation? Surveillance footage captured parts of her journey, but left crucial moments unrecorded. Most haunting was the question of her final moments. Did she realize she was trapped? Could this tragedy have been prevented with better security, more attentive friends, or a faster response from authorities? These unanswered questions transformed a personal tragedy into a national conversation. If you've ever worried about a friend who's had too much to drink, or found yourself alone in an unfamiliar place, this story matters to you. Stay with me as we examine what really happened to Kenneka Jenkins and learn the critical safety lessons that could save your life or someone you love. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Here at Explosive True Crime Stories, we uncover shocking cases, mysterious disappearances, and mind-blowing investigations, bringing you the facts, the twists, and the truth. Got a case you want us to cover? Drop it in the comments. Your next obsession starts here. Fire subscribe now for the most explosive true crime stories. Friday, September 8th, 2017, began as an ordinary day for Kenneka Jenkins. The 19-year-old had spent the afternoon at home with her family on Chicago's West Side. Around 11:30 p.m., plans materialized for a night out with friends, a spontaneous decision that would set fatal events in motion. Text messages recovered from Kenneka's phone showed she hadn't initially planned to attend any parties that night. The invitation came from a close friend who mentioned a gathering at the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel in Rosemont, about 20 minutes from Kenneka's home. The party was to celebrate a friend's birthday, and several people from Kenneka's social circle would be there. By midnight, Kenneka had decided to join, setting in motion her final hours. Before leaving home, Kenneka asked her mother, Teresa Martin, if she could borrow the family car for the evening. Martin was initially hesitant. It was late, and she worried about her daughter driving at night. After some discussion, she relented, handing over the keys with a reminder to be careful and return home at a reasonable hour. This ordinary exchange between mother and daughter would later haunt Teresa, who couldn't have known it would be their final conversation. Kenneka arrived at the Crowne Plaza around 1:13 a.m. on Saturday, September 9th. The party was held in room 926, a standard hotel room that had become crowded with approximately 30 people. Police would later determine that the room had been rented using a fraudulent credit card linked to a gang from Chicago's West Side, though no direct connection to Kenneka was established. The gathering was loud enough that other hotel guests had complained about noise. Inside, the atmosphere was typical of a young adult party. Music playing from portable speakers, alcohol flowing freely, and people filming on their phones for social media. Many attendees knew each other from the neighborhood, while others were friends of friends. Several partygoers would later post videos from the night on Facebook and Snapchat, inadvertently documenting some of Kenneka's final hours and fueling subsequent speculation about what truly happened. As the night progressed, Kenneka consumed significant amounts of alcohol, primarily cognac. Multiple witnesses later confirmed she had no history of drug use, but toxicology reports would reveal the presence of topiramate, a medication for epilepsy and migraines that wasn't prescribed to her, in her system. The combination proved dangerous. By 2:30 a.m., other partygoers noticed Kenneka's condition deteriorating. In social media videos later scrutinized by millions, she appeared increasingly disoriented, her speech slurred and movements unsteady. At one point, she sat alone in a corner, looking confused and detached from the festivities around her. Friends reported that her mood shifted throughout the night, initially upbeat and dancing, then becoming withdrawn and melancholy. No one intervened to cut off her drinking or suggested taking her home, despite her visible intoxication. By 3 a.m., Kenneka was struggling to maintain her balance when walking. When Kenneka's friends returned to the hallway, they discovered she was gone. According to their statements to police, they spent the next hour searching the hotel's 9th floor, checking stairwells and asking other guests if they had seen her. The friends claimed they split up to cover more ground, calling Kenneka's name and checking nearby floors. Their accounts contained inconsistencies that would later fuel speculation. Some said they searched for 15 minutes. Others claimed it was over an hour. None thought to alert hotel security during this critical period. One friend later admitted they were concerned about getting in trouble for underage drinking and the fraudulently booked room. By 4 a.m., the friends had regrouped in the parking lot with Kenneka's car keys and phone in their possession, but no sign of Kenneka herself. At approximately 4:30 a.m., Teresa Martin's phone rang. On the other end were Kenneka's friends, calling from her daughter's car in the hotel parking lot. They explained that Kenneka was missing, that they had her belongings, and that they had searched but couldn't find her. Martin, immediately alarmed, demanded to know how they could have lost her daughter. The conversation grew heated as the friends struggled to provide clear answers about when they had last seen Kenneka or where exactly they had looked. Martin later recalled feeling that something wasn't right about their story, sensing inconsistencies in their timeline and explanations. Teresa Martin immediately drove to the Crowne Plaza, arriving around 5 a.m. with several family members. They began a frantic room-to-room search, knocking on doors near where the party had been held. Martin repeatedly called her daughter's phone, which was now in the possession of Kenneka's friends. The family split up to cover more ground, checking bathrooms, stairwells, and public areas. They questioned hotel guests and staff, showing photos of Kenneka on their phones. As morning arrived, more family members and friends joined the search, creating a growing presence in the hotel lobby that could not be ignored by management or other guests. When Teresa Martin approached the front desk to report her missing daughter, hotel staff initially treated the situation as a routine matter. They suggested Kenneka might have left with other guests or could be in another room. Management declined to review security footage without an official police report, citing privacy policies. As hours passed and the family's distress escalated, hotel security conducted a cursory search of public areas, but did not check restricted zones like the kitchen or storage areas. They recommended waiting longer before involving police, suggesting that young adults often disappear temporarily during parties. This response would later be criticized as inadequate and potentially costing precious hours in locating Kenneka. The critical delay in reviewing surveillance footage proved devastating. Police later confirmed that footage showing Kenneka entering the kitchen area existed, but wasn't examined until nearly 12 hours after her mother arrived at the hotel. When Martin requested to see security videos, She was told only police could access them following a formal missing persons report. This bureaucratic roadblock meant that while Kenneka's body lay in the freezer, potentially still alive in the early hours, no one was looking in the right place. The family wouldn't file an official report until 12:46 p.m. At 12:46 p.m. on Saturday, September 9th, Kenneka's sister Leonore Harris formally filed a missing persons report with Rosemont Police. Officers arrived at the hotel within the hour and began coordinating with hotel security. They interviewed staff members who had been on duty overnight and collected contact information for known party attendees. By 6 p.m., police had begun reviewing surveillance footage, methodically tracking backward from the party room. The search expanded to include all 10 floors of the hotel, with officers checking vacant rooms, utility closets, and public restrooms. Despite these efforts, the kitchen and freezer areas weren't prioritized until much later in the investigation. Nearly 24 hours after Kenneka disappeared, at approximately 12:25 a.m. on Sunday, September 10th, a hotel employee made the grim discovery. While conducting a routine check of the kitchen area, they opened the walk-in freezer door and found Kenneka's body. She was lying face down, one shoe off, wearing the same clothes from the party videos. Police were immediately notified, and the area was secured as a potential crime scene. Paramedics confirmed she showed no signs of life, and she was officially pronounced dead at 12:48 a.m. The temperature inside the freezer was measured at 8 degrees Fahrenheit. The location where she was found was particularly troubling. It was in a construction area of the kitchen that should have been inaccessible to guests, behind several doors that should have been secured. The walk-in freezer was located in an unused kitchen area undergoing renovation. To reach it, Kenneka would have had to pass through the hotel's main kitchen, then through a heavy door into the construction zone, and finally through the freezer's outer door. The freezer itself had 2 doors, an outer door that swung shut automatically and an inner door with the release mechanism. Inside, metal shelving lined the walls of the 8 by 10-foot chamber. The freezer was fully operational despite being in an unused section, maintaining sub-freezing temperatures. When Teresa Martin was informed of her daughter's death, her grief quickly turned to disbelief and anger. She questioned how Kenneka could have accessed the restricted area and become trapped in a freezer. "I believe someone killed my child," she told reporters gathered outside the hotel. Rosemont Police initially classified the case as a death investigation rather than a homicide, noting no immediate signs of foul play. The hotel issued a brief statement expressing condolences, but declined further comment pending investigation. Community members quickly mobilized, with dozens gathering outside the Crown Plaza demanding answers. Within hours, #JusticeForKenneka began trending on social media, marking the beginning of intense public scrutiny. Have you ever considered the hidden dangers in places we assume are safe? How many times have you separated from friends at a hotel or venue without a second thought? If you're finding this case as disturbing as millions of others did, hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. The Rosemont Police Department launched a comprehensive investigation immediately after discovering Kenneka's body. Within hours, they secured the scene, photographed the freezer area, and began collecting evidence. Detectives interviewed 44 people connected to the case, including 30 who had been present at the hotel room party. By September 13th, investigators had obtained search warrants for Kenneka's phone records and social media accounts. They also collected DNA samples from the freezer handle and door release mechanism. Hotel employees underwent questioning about security protocols and access to restricted areas. On September 15th, police released initial surveillance footage to the public, showing Kenneka stumbling through hotel corridors. This unusual step came in response to mounting public pressure and conspiracy theories circulating online. The investigation continued for several weeks, with forensic analysis of the hotel room, toxicology testing, and review of over 40 hours of surveillance footage from 47 different cameras throughout the hotel. The surveillance footage became central to understanding Kenneka's final movements. Cameras captured her at 3:25 a.m. exiting a lower-level elevator alone, visibly disoriented and using walls for support. At 3:32 a.m., the final footage showed her entering the kitchen area. Though crucially, No cameras recorded her actually entering the freezer. Analysts meticulously tracked her path through the hotel, noting she appeared to be wandering without purpose. In one sequence, she nearly fell while attempting to navigate a corner. In another, she rode an elevator up and down multiple times without exiting. The footage revealed no other individuals following or interacting with her during these final movements. A significant gap in coverage existed in the kitchen area where the freezer was located. This blind spot fueled speculation about whether someone could have directed or forced her into the freezer without being recorded. Police concluded that the footage showed no evidence of foul play, but rather a severely intoxicated young woman who had become disoriented in an unfamiliar environment. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office conducted a thorough autopsy on September 10th. The external examination revealed no significant trauma beyond minor abrasions on her right ankle and foot, consistent with stumbling or falling. There were no signs of sexual assault or physical struggle.
Also breaking tonight, hours of new video are released revealing more about a woman found dead in a hotel freezer. CBS 2's Audrina Bigas joins us now. So you poured through this video. What is it showing us?
36 hours of video, and this was just released to us a few hours ago. This video shows Kenneka Jenkins walking into the kitchen, but we never see her entering the freezer. And tonight, that is why her family is not satisfied with the theory that she walked into the freezer on her own. Surveillance video shows Kenneka Jenkins walking with friends at the Crowne Plaza Hotel early Saturday morning. We see her a few hours later by herself. At one point, she stumbles out of an elevator. Later, she repeatedly hits the wall walking down this hallway. Another camera catches her running into a stairwell and then catching her fall. Video time codes appear to show Kenneka roaming the hotel for over an hour.
She's trying to find her way, and no one from Crowne Plaza Hotel responds to her.
Around 3:30 a.m., Kenneka enters a lower-level kitchen in the hotel. She walks out of frame, but then she's captured walking here on another camera. But we still don't see her entering the freezer.
I want to see her literally actually walking into this freezer and closing us up within this freezer.
I want all of the recordings, all of the communications, all of the reports, the statements that were taken. I want to know the individuals that were there.
Tonight, Rosemont police say 31 people were at the party with Kenneka inside the hotel room, booked with a fraudulent credit card. Police say they're still trying to identify and find 15 of the partygoers. Meanwhile, autopsy and toxicology results have yet to be released.
Why is Kenneka dead? That's where we need to be. We will get to the bottom of it. We will only go to where the facts lead us.
Kenneka's family attorneys say they will be conducting their own independent investigation. They're also considering a second autopsy. Rob and Erica, that's because there's still a lot of unanswered questions tonight.
You know, it's curious because we heard that the authorities were going to show the family the 36 hours of surveillance tape, but clearly they haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, at about 3 o'clock this afternoon, they said they had not seen that video, and they've been requesting it for about 48 hours.
All right, Audrina, thank you.
Internal examination showed mild brain swelling and congestion of organs, typical in hypothermia cases. Her lungs contained fluid, indicating she was alive when entering the freezer and continued breathing in the frigid air. The medical examiner noted no evidence of asphyxiation or traumatic injury that would suggest homicide. The toxicology screening detected alcohol, caffeine, and unexpectedly, topiramate, an anticonvulsant medication used to treat epilepsy and prevent migraines. This finding was significant as Kenneka had no prescription for this medication, and her family confirmed she had no history of seizures or migraines. The report indicated no illegal drugs were found in her system, contradicting some social media speculation. Kenneka's blood alcohol concentration was measured at 0.112, well above the legal driving limit of 0.08. This level of intoxication would significantly impair coordination, judgment, and reaction time in most individuals. The alcohol alone could explain her disoriented appearance in the surveillance footage. More puzzling was the presence of topiramate in her system. Toxicologists noted that this medication can enhance alcohol's effects dramatically, causing increased confusion, impaired cognition, and reduced body temperature regulation. When combined with alcohol, topiramate can produce a state resembling extreme intoxication, even with relatively modest alcohol consumption. Investigators never determined how the topiramate entered Kenneka's system, Possibilities included accidental ingestion, deliberate consumption, or someone adding it to her drinks without her knowledge. This unexplained element added another layer of complexity to the case. On October 6, 2017, the medical examiner officially ruled Kenneka's death an accident. The cause was listed as hypothermia due to cold exposure in the walk-in freezer, with alcohol and topiramate intoxication as significant contributing factors. The report explained that in her impaired state, Kenneka likely entered the freezer voluntarily, but was unable to escape once the door closed behind her. The combination of drugs and alcohol would have accelerated the hypothermia process, as both substances dilate blood vessels and increase heat loss. Additionally, the impaired judgment would have prevented her from recognizing the danger until it was too late. Despite this official determination, many in the community and on social media rejected the conclusion, believing that the unusual circumstances pointed to foul play rather than a tragic accident. The accounts provided by Kenneka's friends contained troubling contradictions that fueled suspicion. Initially, they claimed they searched for her extensively before calling her mother, but later admitted the search lasted only minutes. Some friends stated they left Kenneka in the hallway while retrieving her belongings, while others said she wandered off from the party room unnoticed. The timeline they provided didn't align with hotel surveillance footage. Most concerning was their possession of Kenneka's phone and car keys, items she would likely have kept with her. These discrepancies led many to question whether the friends were hiding crucial information about the circumstances leading to Kenneka's isolation in the hotel. In the days following Kenneka's death, amateur sleuths combed through party videos posted on social media, claiming to hear concerning phrases and identify suspicious behaviors. Some believed they heard Kenneka crying for help in the background of videos. Others claimed to see reflections in mirrored sunglasses showing someone being assaulted. Facebook Live videos from the party were analyzed frame by thousands of viewers who believed they contained evidence of a setup or assault. These theories spread rapidly across platforms, with hashtags demanding justice trending nationally. While police dismissed most of these claims as misinterpretations, the social media investigation demonstrated unprecedented public involvement in a criminal case. Teresa Martin vocally rejected the accidental death ruling from the beginning. "I know someone did something to my child," she stated repeatedly in press conferences. The family questioned how Kenneka could have navigated multiple doors to reach the freezer while severely intoxicated, yet hotel staff couldn't find her during searches. They pointed to the lack of fingerprints on the freezer door and the position of Kenneka's body as evidence something wasn't right. Martin also expressed frustration with police handling of the case, suggesting they rushed to conclusions and failed to thoroughly investigate all possibilities. The family hired their own forensic experts to review evidence independently. Central to the controversy was how Kenneka accessed a restricted area that should have been secured. Former hotel employees came forward stating that the kitchen doors were often propped open for convenience, contradicting management claims about security protocols. Questions arose about why an unused freezer in a construction zone remained operational and unlocked. Safety experts questioned the absence of emergency release mechanisms inside the freezer, standard features in modern units. The hotel's explanation that the area was under renovation didn't satisfy critics, who noted that dangerous equipment should be either secured or de-energized during construction. These security failures represented potential negligence that became a focus of the subsequent lawsuit. The case generated unprecedented public activism. Protesters maintained a constant presence outside the hotel for weeks, holding signs and chanting demands for justice. Community organizations in Chicago organized marches that drew thousands. Over 70,000 people signed petitions calling for federal intervention in the investigation. This public pressure directly influenced the investigation's transparency. Police took the unusual step of releasing surveillance footage before concluding their work. The medical examiner's office provided detailed explanations of findings, and the hotel faced intense scrutiny from regulatory agencies. While the official conclusion remained accidental death, the depth and transparency of the investigation were undoubtedly shaped by relentless public demand for answers. In December 2018, Teresa Martin filed a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit against the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare, its security contractor, and the restaurant that operated the kitchen where Kenneka was found. The lawsuit alleged gross negligence, citing multiple failures that contributed to Kenneka's death. The complaint specifically highlighted the hotel's failure to secure restricted areas, inadequate monitoring of surveillance cameras, and improper maintenance of the freezer. It also claimed staff were negligent in their search efforts after being notified of Kenneka's disappearance. The most damning allegation was that the freezer had known safety issues, including problems with the interior release mechanism, yet remained operational in an unsecured area. The hotel initially fought the allegations, arguing that Kenneka's own intoxication was the primary factor in her death. After nearly 2 years of legal proceedings, the parties reached a settlement in August 2020. While the exact terms remain confidential, court documents indicated the agreement was valued between $6 million and $10 million. The settlement avoided a potentially lengthy trial that would have further scrutinized the hotel's security practices. The agreement included no admission of wrongdoing by the hotel or other defendants, though the substantial financial settlement was widely interpreted as recognition of significant liability concerns. Following Kenneka's death and the subsequent lawsuit, the Crowne Plaza implemented comprehensive security upgrades. All access points to restricted areas were fitted with alarm systems and electronic locks requiring key card access. The hotel instituted mandatory hourly security patrols of all floors and service areas. Most significantly, they established new protocols for missing persons reports, requiring immediate review of surveillance footage and systematic searches of all areas, including restricted zones. When guests are reported missing, staff now receive specialized training on handling potential emergency situations. Kenneka's case catalyzed industry-wide safety improvements. The American Hotel and Lodging Association developed new guidelines specifically addressing kitchen and maintenance area security. Several states, including Illinois, introduced legislation requiring hotels to implement comprehensive security measures for restricted areas and emergency response protocols for missing guests. The case also prompted OSHA to issue updated guidance on securing potentially dangerous equipment during renovations. Hotel safety auditors now specifically check freezer safety mechanisms and access restrictions as standard procedure during inspections, creating a lasting legacy from this tragedy. Forensic experts who reviewed the case generally support the accidental death conclusion, though with important nuances. Dr. Judy Melinek, a renowned forensic pathologist not involved in the original investigation, noted that the physical evidence aligns with a scenario where an intoxicated individual wandered into an unfamiliar area and became trapped. The surveillance footage showing disorientation, the toxicology results, and the lack of defensive injuries all point to a tragic accident rather than foul play, she explained in a 2018 analysis. Criminal behaviorist Casey Jordan pointed out that Kenneka's movements on camera displayed classic signs of alcohol-induced confusion, walking without clear direction, using walls for support, and making illogical navigational choices. What we're seeing is someone who has lost spatial awareness and decision-making capacity, Jordan observed. The experts emphasized that while the circumstances were unusual, they weren't inexplicable. The combination of intoxication, unfamiliar surroundings, and unfortunate access to a dangerous area created a perfect storm of factors leading to this tragedy. The interaction between alcohol and topiramate created a particularly dangerous level of impairment. Dr. Ryan Marino, a medical toxicologist, explained that this combination produces synergistic effects far exceeding what either substance would cause alone. Topiramate blocks glutamate receptors in the brain while enhancing GABA activity, essentially amplifying alcohol's depressive effects on the central nervous system, he noted. This combination specifically impairs temperature regulation, coordination, and judgment, all critical factors in Kenneka's situation. At her blood alcohol level of 0.112, most individuals would already experience significant impairment. With topiramate added, her functional impairment would have been comparable to someone with a much higher blood alcohol concentration, potentially explaining her severe disorientation and inability to recognize the danger of the freezer or locate the exit once inside. The walk-in freezer where Kenneka was found lacked several modern safety features. Industrial safety engineer Marcus Williams, who reviewed the case files, noted that current building codes require emergency release mechanisms that allow someone to exit even if the door closes behind them. The freezer in question had an older design with a heavy door that would seal when closed, and a release mechanism that could be difficult to locate in the dark, especially for someone impaired, Williams explained. The freezer's location in a kitchen under renovation meant normal safety protocols were compromised. Warning signs were absent, and the unit remained operational despite not being in active use. The temperature was set at 8 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to induce hypothermia within hours, particularly in someone wearing only light party clothing and with alcohol in their system. Several environmental factors likely contributed to the tragedy. The hotel's layout was confusing, with similar-looking corridors and multiple access points to service areas. The late hour meant fewer staff were present who might have noticed Kenneka wandering into restricted areas. The renovation status of the kitchen created an unusual situation where equipment remained operational but unsupervised. Social dynamics also played a role. Kenneka became separated from her friends in an unfamiliar environment. The party atmosphere likely meant her increasing intoxication went unnoticed until it reached dangerous levels. The presence of topiramate, whether taken knowingly or unknowingly, created an impairment level that would have been difficult for others to accurately assess, potentially explaining why friends didn't recognize the severity of her condition. The death of Kenneka Jenkins represents a perfect storm of unfortunate circumstances: a vulnerable young woman, impaired judgment, unsecured dangerous equipment, and a series of missed opportunities for intervention. While the official ruling of accidental death is supported by evidence, the case reminds us how quickly a celebration can turn tragic. The controversy surrounding her death also highlights the deep distrust many communities feel toward official investigations, particularly when young people of color are involved. This case stands as a sobering reminder that safety precautions exist for a reason, and that the systems designed to protect us sometimes fail in the most devastating ways. Beyond the headlines and controversy, Kenneka Jenkins was a vibrant 19-year-old with dreams and aspirations. Friends described her as outgoing, loyal, and quick to laugh. She had recently discussed returning to school and pursuing a career in nursing. Her mother spoke of Kenneka's love for family gatherings and her special bond with younger cousins. In remembering Kenneka, we honor not just the circumstances of her passing, but the full life she lived and the future that was tragically cut short. This case should serve as a powerful reminder to look out for one another, especially in unfamiliar environments. Never leave impaired friends alone, even briefly. Question when areas that should be secured aren't. Speak up when safety protocols are bypassed for convenience. The changes implemented after Kenneka's death have undoubtedly saved lives, but vigilance remains our best defense against similar tragedies. Her story should empower us all to prioritize safety and accountability in every environment we enter. If this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe to Explosive True Crime Stories for more thoughtful coverage of cases that matter. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you believe happened to Kenneka? Join our community discussion and help keep these important conversations alive. Until next time, stay safe.